Excellencies, honorable ministers, Deputy Secretary General, I can't really see everybody else because of the light. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Kenyan diaspora and the African diaspora in the room, Guten Morgen, good morning, and hamjambo. It's really an honor to be here to be speaking this historic occasion that is marking the 2025 Africa Day organized by the Austrian Federal Economic Chamber. And I want to thank the WKO president, Herr Merher, and the Austrian Economic Chamber for hosting this meeting that avails as a platform to enable business, to talk about collaboration and the strategic partnerships that have already been mentioned a few times here, to build on our networking, particularly between Austrian businesses and governments and businesses from Africa. Before I go too much into the comments that I want to make, allow me to really quickly just speak on a couple of the things that have been mentioned by the previous speakers, including by the amazing Eliud Kipchoge, and some of the comments that were made by the Minister and the Deputy Secretary General as they spoke here. Africa currently, as of 2024, has a 1.5 billion population. That is huge. By 2050, 2.5 billion people will live on the African continent. Going by today's standards, that's about a quarter of the population of the world. At that point, it will be a little bit less than a quarter of the current population of the world. Africa, and again speaking from the short video that you've just shown, the median age in Africa is 20. I did a quick check. The median age in Austria is 43. No, I'm not trying to start something. I'm just saying that it is an extremely youthful continent with an extremely large workforce and an extremely large market. Anybody who ignores Africa does so at their own peril. Let me also say, and I think it's the Deputy Secretary General who spoke about agreements as far as trade is concerned. Africa now has the African Continental Free Trade Area, which means that anybody who invests in Africa can tap into that 1.5 billion strong market. I think Madam Deputy Secretary General also spoke about, and I think the Minister spoke a little bit about some of the areas that we've seen growth in business in, whether it is in technology. Kenya, for example, is the home of the Silicon Savannah. Whether it is green energy, over 90% of the fuel sources in Kenya are renewable sources, for example. Whether it is this wonderful skill workforce that I've spoken about, and so on. Okay. As captured in this year's theme for this event, business in Africa is a marathon, not a sprint. And I had sort of really interesting anecdotes to speak to, but Kipchoge has spoken, so I'm just going to say, like a good lawyer, I associate myself with his comments and don't have very much to add to that. But negotiations, friendships, and relationships, as well as partnerships, are not built overnight. We date a little bit before we get married, I'm told is how business is done. So, but they're nurtured over time. That's a reason we're here to network, to date a little, as it were, to seek opportunities and collaborations that are, again, mutually beneficial to all of us in the room, and which then are reinforced through legal frameworks such as MOUs and so on. And the Minister and the Deputy Secretary General was speaking about some of the things that have happened on the African continent between African countries and Austria in the last 1 year. One of the perhaps most exciting things that have happened between Austria and Kenya is the signing of an MOU between Kenya and Austria in the field of cooperation, in the field of mobility and migration as far as skilled workers is concerned. Let me say this, and allow me to use the example of Kenya as one of many countries within Africa, to speak about the space for mobility and opportunities vis-a-vis the young talent that I spoke about. The youth bulge in Kenya and in many countries in Africa is not a challenge. It is not only a challenge, but an exciting and tremendous opportunity, which, if well leveraged, can do wonders for both these African countries as well as for businesses that are far from this continent. As a Kenyan government, for example, we have been and remain committed to ensuring that our young people are well equipped with skills and competencies that are required to thrive in a globalized economy. Kenya spends about 33% of its budget in education. We put all of this money into our young people, educating them through primary school, high school, universities, TVETs, and so on. And as one should, if a large part of your population is as youthful as ours is. Kenya's median age is 19. So many of us are part of the other side of that curve. So through partnerships such as the one that was signed with the government of Austria, or one that we've signed with the German federal government, for example, these kinds of partnerships and working closely with the private sector, and that's why I'm excited to be here this morning, we can leverage our youth's potential to meet, for example, Austria's demand for skilled professionals in critical sectors such as healthcare, information technology, engineering, hospitality, and these are areas that we have demonstrated time and time again across various countries around the globe that we have fantastic capacity to train and deliver in. Kenya and Austria signed this MOU last year, which was both timely and strategic, and it lays the foundation for a strong partnership between our two nations, driven by shared goals and mutual interests. And the MOU is a roadmap for mutually beneficial exchanges of skilled labor, particularly in the areas that I mentioned where Austria faces certain shortages. It aligns seamlessly with Kenya's bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which addresses the labor demands in other parts of the world while offering a ready pool of highly qualified and talented Kenyans. And let me say the bottom-up economic transformation agenda doesn't just focus on ensuring the young people can have employment. It also has other pillars, such as creating a large digital superhighway, and that has built what we call the Silicon Savannah, and increased Kenya's workforce and capacities as far as technology is concerned, as well as creative economy, affordable housing, universal healthcare, and so on. In addition, as a government, we recognize the role of the diaspora in economic development of the country through investments, remittances, skills and knowledge transfer, and leveraging on opportunities that are available, and their networks abroad, and including in business, education, trainings, capacity building, and so on and so forth. I have to say something about that because, as you heard, I'm the principal secretary. I think that translates loosely to Secretary General here in Austria. For the State Department for Diaspora Affairs. Kenya has 4 million strong Kenyans living in the diaspora against our population of about 53 million. So about 8% of Kenyans live in the diaspora. That diaspora last year, based on the numbers that were published last week, was able to send home, in terms of remittances, $4.9 billion US. That is a growth of about $0.7 billion from the previous year. $4.9 billion is a significant number. It is about 4% of our GDP. And we're seeing increasingly countries on the continent, and really in the global south, seeing remittances as an important part of their own inflows. $4.9 billion is an important figure because it outstrips our foreign exchange earnings from the traditional sale of coffee or tea, tourism, foreign aid, and so on. So really, diasporas are doing this important work, and not just countries like ours are recognizing this, but the AU, the African Union, recognizes African diaspora, and I think I see many in the room, as the 6th region of Africa. So really in this geometry, the diaspora therefore are a two-way valve that support the outflow from our countries of goods and services, but also open up trade routes, commodities, and services, and the inflow of investments, remittances, tourism, technology transfer, and so on. Therefore, as this Africa Day provides this platform for this conversation, I'm inviting all of us to look at how people-to-people connection in particular, particularly using our diasporas, those who live here and who understand the ways in which both parts of the world work, make them an important part of this conversation. They are children of two homes and can be a critical part in creating those linkages between African countries and Austria. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of work is increasingly digital. And as we dialogue here today, we need to reflect on the immense potential of remote work in expanding employment opportunities and in expanding how businesses are able to deliver their goods and their services to their valued customers. Kenya has emerged as a hub for digital innovation, as I mentioned earlier, and a leader in the digital economy across Africa. The rise of remote work offers Kenyan professionals the opportunity to contribute to Austria's economy, for example, without necessarily relocating. I was looking at some of our numbers last year, and I believe just in the last 1 year, Kenya has created digital opportunities of over 200,000. 200,000 opportunities within the digital space where people are doing remote work in just the 1 year. So this is a really thriving and upcoming area. As a government, we're committed to fostering an environment that supports digital entrepreneurship, ICT development, and remote opportunities, ensuring our workforce is future-ready and able to compete on a global scale. We fully acknowledge that remote jobs are a key pillar of the digital economy, and this collaboration will open up new avenues for Kenyan talent, particularly within IT, digital services, and the knowledge economy to work from home, as it were. This initiative ensures that Kenyan professionals can access global opportunities really from the comfort of their homes, while simultaneously creating sustainable livelihoods from people, as I mentioned, from the comfort of their home. I have great confidence in the Kenyan workforce, as you can imagine, and our young professionals are known for their innovation, adaptability, and strong work ethic. And by providing structured pathways for skilled workers to contribute to Austria's economic growth, we are positioning Kenya as a key player in the global labor market. Kenyan workers will not only fill labor gaps, but also bring fresh perspectives and innovation to your industries. This partnership enhances our efforts to promote Kenyan talent as world-class, well-trained, and ready to excel in any part of the world. Let me thank you once again for the hosting of this African Day and showing that this is really testament to the strong and growing relationship between Africa and Austria, and a commitment to creating opportunities for both our people through these sort of structured dialogues built on mutual respect and these shared goals. Today, we're not only strengthening diplomatic ties, people-to-people relations, but also fostering collaboration that will have a lasting impact on both our societies for years to come. We therefore look at these structured pathways and enhance mobility of skills and human capital, as I already said. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I am confident that this collaboration will serve as a model for future partnerships, and I look forward to the positive outcomes that will bring for the people of Kenya, broadly the people of Africa, and the people of Austria, our organizations, and our future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.